I reached out to help my son up from a fall, and he flinched away and shouted, "Don't touch me, you're going to hurt me." I froze on the sidewalk with my hand out. My 6-year-old was looking at me like I'd raised a fist. "Micah, what are you talking about?" He scooted backward on the concrete, scraped palms and all. "Coach Delaney says grown-ups who grab you are trying to control you. He said if a grown-up puts hands on you, even a parent, you get away and you tell someone." My chest went hot. "Buddy, I was helping you stand up." He shook his head fast, eyes huge. "Coach said you'd say that." Then he got up by himself and ran into the house. That night, I called the youth rec league. The coordinator answered with the standard script until I said Delaney's name, and then her voice changed. He has his own approach. Some parents have taken it the wrong way before, but his teams won the division 3 years running. I asked for a meeting with the league director. It took 20 minutes of back and forth, but she scheduled me for the next evening. I walked in intending to be reasonable. Then the director opened with, "So you're another one who's upset about Delaney." I said my son had just backed away from me on a public sidewalk like I was dangerous. He shrugged and said, "Well, should he have?" I asked to see whatever materials Delaney was using with the kids. He said that wasn't something they distributed. I went home and tried to talk to Micah again. He was in his room, and when I stepped into the doorway, he pressed himself against the bed. "Coach says don't be in a room alone with one adult." I stopped where I was. My 6-year-old was negotiating exit routes with me in his own bedroom. I backed out and closed the door. 2 days later, I went to practice early to talk to other parents. The first mother I approached saw me coming, took her kid's hand, and walked the other way. I heard her say to someone, "That's the dad Micah's been talking about." My stomach dropped through the floor. He hadn't just absorbed it, he'd been repeating it, with my name attached. I filed a written complaint with the Parks Department that afternoon. Before I heard anything back, there was a knock on my door. 2 people with lanyards and a folder. County Child Services. They needed to speak with Micah alone. I sat in my own kitchen for 50 minutes while a stranger interviewed my son about me. When the caseworker came out, she wasn't looking at me like a worried parent. She was looking at me like a file. "Your son says you grab him. He says you get close to him when he says no. He says his coach told him dads do this." I explained everything. The coach, the director, the mother in the parking lot. She wrote it all down with the neutral patience of someone who has heard 1,000 explanations, and then she said, "This is an open assessment now." I called the Parks Department and demanded a meeting with Delaney present. I didn't care what it did to me. 11 days later, I walked into a conference room ready to take someone apart. Delaney wasn't what I expected. Late 50s. He came in slowly with a cane and sat down and put both hands flat on the table like he was steadying himself. The department rep cleared his throat. "Before we start, there's context you should have." Delaney spoke before the rep could. His voice was rough. "I coached a boy named Andrew for 4 seasons. He kept getting hurt. I kept believing what his stepfather told me about it. In 2019, that man beat him so badly Andrew spent 9 weeks in a hospital." He stopped and pressed his knuckles against the table. I was the adult who saw it every week and did nothing, because I told myself it wasn't my business. He finally looked at me. "So I started telling every kid I coach, if hands get put on you, you get away and you tell someone." I never meant fathers. I meant anyone. But they're 6, and they don't hear the difference. And I believed him. I could see it plainly. He wasn't malicious. He was a man carrying something he never put down. I asked the director why nobody had corrected the way he was saying it. The director said the language was in a training packet from 2020, and nobody had reviewed it since. I didn't push for anyone's job. What I asked for was that a child psychologist rewrite the language, that it be reviewed annually, and that Delaney tell the team, in plain words, what he'd actually meant. He did it at the next practice. He got about halfway through and had to stop. Micah asked me that night if the coach was okay. Then he asked if I'd help him with his cleats. He put his hand on my shoulder to balance.